Oh, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this is streaming live. I'm getting the last of my stuff put together and ready to go. But now my watch tells me it is 12:30, and it is officially time to go. So let me pull up my chair. I am the old humble guy. Ah, shit. I am the old humble guy. This is the Old Humble Distilling Company. We're doing a day in life right behind the scenes of what goes on here day to day. But also we're going to talk because I haven't talked to anybody in a while, and we're just going to, my back hurts. We're going to have a chit chat. My distributor's going to be here about 2 o'clock. About 2 o'clock, we're going to be jamming on. We've got 4 cases to give to them, and they're going to send me some money, and I like that idea. But let's get on with it. Over here, we're going to have a little bird's eye view of what's happening. Right here over my shoulder is the bottling machine. Back there are my bottles, and they're all going to end up right here on this table. I'm going to do about five cases of Special Reserve today. And I need to log on to my monitor real quick so I can watch chat as it comes and goes. There it is. All right. Cheers, Dom. Welcome to the show. All right, so this is where I keep my bottles and I bring over pretty much what I'm going to work with for the day. I'm looking to do about 5 cases. My order is 12 that I need to have done next week. So I'll do 5 or 6 now. This gets out of the way. That's going to go to the dumpster at the end of the day. So I'll stage up 6 cases of whiskey right here. And everything we do at the Old Humble Distilling Company is a manual process. 6 cases of whiskey is going to be 72 bottles. 72, so I need 12 rows of 6, or 9 rows of 8. Ugh. Get out of here. Boosh. 12 rows of 6 or 9 rows of 8. 7 won't do it for me. But 9, I can do 9 rows of 8, easy. And I like to keep things tracked and organized that way. For those of you who don't know, I'm not exactly a meticulous neat freak, as you can probably see from what's going on in the background here. But I do like to keep things organized. So when I'm working on stuff, I like to keep things organized in nice little rows so I know what I've done and what I'm doing, where I'm going and where I've been. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that would be 9 rows. Awesome. My corks just spilled out onto the table. That's fine. They're going to be there soon enough anyway. I'm probably not going to get done with this whole run before it's time to go. But I'll probably have everything bottled, and after we go offline, I'll finish the labeling. Because I have date night starting at 4 o'clock. I have to go pick up our charcuterie boards. Date night is a program that we're doing here at the tasting room. On Friday nights, the lights go low. We try to create a sexy little vibe here at the Old Humble Distilling Company. Until 6 o'clock, we're a normal, just after work hang. Happy hour all afternoon. You want to knock off a little bit early, come to the Old Humble Distilling Company, chill out. You want to beat traffic, you get here around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, chill out, wait for traffic to dissipate. by the time we close at 7 or you finish drinking, I mean, you know, we're only talking like a couple of drinks, but you hang out, wait for traffic to blow over, and then head home to your loving family who's been waiting for you this whole time. And little Johnny and Micah will come running to you, cheering with open arms to say hi, Daddy, Mommy, welcome home. We've been waiting for you. When's dinner? But you're cool because you've taken the stress off of the afternoon by hanging out at Old Humble's after work vibe. But on Friday nights, it's a little bit different. We're that normal afternoon hangout, afternoon vibe, beat the traffic rush hour place. But then after 6 o'clock, the lights go down. The lights go down. The music shifts to some smooth jazz stuff. It gets a little bit smoother, a little bit sexier. We do drink specials. 2 drinks, 2 flights, or 4 drinks. For $10 each, you get a charcuterie board. Kick off your date night in style. I do not warranty or guarantee anything that goes on after 9 o'clock when you leave. That is entirely up to you and whoever you're drinking with. But I do guarantee the time you spend here will be fun and fine and enjoyable. So at 3 o'clock, I've got to go meet to pick up the charcuterie boards. So we'll probably wrap this up around 2:30. Couple hours should be enough to fill all the bottles, cork the bottles, and seal the bottles. Let me move the camera up just a shade. Yeah, that's better. All right. We're not quite ready to start bottling for real because we still have a little bit of air in the lines. Tomorrow I go to a tabletop gaming convention. They open at 8 in the morning. They open at 8 in the morning, start selling at 11. They're actually setting up this afternoon, but I am covering the shop for my weekend Gary. So I'm going to be here tonight. I'm not going to go there and set up. But, I mean, you know, set up for when I do festival booths is pretty simple. I have a table. I bring my table. I have a display of a couple of barrels. I bring some extra product to kind of show off the product. We're a little heavy on the fill right now. But that's cool. I can fix that. That'll probably adjust itself soon enough. All right, we're off to the races, kids. 72 bottles to fill. We can talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. Dom, you're in chat. Give me a topic. Any questions to have asked or answered? Anything you want to talk about? I'm here. Let's do it. That is my sample cup for quality control purposes. This right here on my chin. I did, in fact, shave yesterday. So there's no, I didn't shave this morning. As it has been since October 2019 that I've shaved 2 days in a row. Probably before October 2019, to be completely honest. But October 2019 being the month and date, the month and year that I went full-time here at the distillery, because I ceased to work at the bank. Okay, that is going to be 12 deep. Quality control. Cheers. Oh, that is a good whiskey. Very oaky. Oakier than the rye. Because it doesn't have the rye whiskey, the rye grains to balance it out. Everything that I do with my whiskey is a balancing act. It's all a balancing act. Every whiskey that I've made has been some version of balance. Whether it's balancing the sweetness of the corn with the flavor of the barrel, balancing the bourbon to the barrel, balancing the rye. It's all been an act of balance. And sometimes I get the balance right. Sometimes I get it wrong. When we first started, I got the balance wrong, I believe, with my Roughneck Reserve bourbon. I don't think that I got it quite right because I was using a new barrel with like 90% corn, and I don't think it tasted quite right. So I switched to a used barrel with the high corn, and that became our Texas Straight Whiskey. But then the Texas Straight Whiskey, it didn't have something missing, but it was kind of light, and I was just kind of curious. What if we took that light, sweet whiskey and added a little pop to it? And I mean pop like pop, not pop like what the Yankees call soda, Coke. And then our Special Reserve was born. Special Reserve being our Texas Straight Whiskey with a little pop. And I'm actually going to start a series of videos that are just tasting notes, the bare bones tasting notes on my whiskeys. The bare bone tasting notes. This is what it is, why it matters, what it tastes like. But I'm not going to give you tasting notes like caramelly, appley, blah, blah, blah. Those are stupid. They're not real. Nobody knows what grassy tastes like. Nobody knows what tannins are. I will tell you the basic outline, and then when you try it, because you'll also have access to the website to buy the whiskey. And don't lie, I know you people go out and buy whiskey. I'm just trying to get it so you go online. Instead of going to the store and spending $60 on whiskey, you go online and you buy a couple of bottles and spend $60 on whiskey. I'm here for you. Get it delivered to your damn door. And I know it's kind of changing a buying habit. People don't typically do that. Whoops. You know, you don't buy whiskey online sight unseen or taste untasted. But also will include the Old Humble Guarantee, the whiskey you get online. The cool thing about YouTube ads, you can give it a progression of advertisements. So you can have, I can set up a series of five videos. So you, the viewer, can get a progression of a story as I'd like to tell it. So I can walk you through all four of our bourbon, or all four of our whiskeys, as we go through the flavor profiles of each one, and eventually get you to a full flight of 4. Or what will soon be 6 or 8. 6, 7. What will soon be 7 whiskeys. You heard it here first. Soon to be 7. Oh, what are you going to have for the other 3, Old Humble Guy? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. I'm not going to answer it. Not right now. You're just going to have to hang up and listen or stay on the line, whatever you prefer to do. You'll also possibly notice I'm not a fat, disgusting blob of shit that I've been in the past. I have actually trimmed several inches off my waistline. I still get the fat guy sweats. Look, I got the fat guy sweats under my boob line and right at the top of my gut. But it's not as bad as it has been in the past. And it's actually getting significantly better. I'm down about 15 pounds from the beginning of the year. In really February, when I started getting serious, because I went down 10 and then back up 5 and then down 5, then back up 10. So I kind of spun my wheels for the first 3 months of the year, thinking I was eating better, but the reality was I was putting a lot of sugar in my system. A lot of sugar, a lot of carbohydrates. So I've joined a cult of keto. I've gone in kind of fanatically. I started ketish, but I've kind of gone in fairly fanatical, where I'm counting, oh shit, I haven't eaten lunch today. Where I'm counting carbs. I've cut back on the alcohol, cut back on the sauce just a little bit. But, you know, I'm a professional drinker, so I can't eliminate it entirely out of my system and out of my process. I've got to sample my goods. But I've gone from probably 2 or 3 a day to maybe 2 or 3 every. So 2 or 3 a day would be between 10 and 15 a week. I know I'm not counting the weekends because I actually don't drink much on the weekends. Mostly I drink when I'm here. You know, it's like not eating chips when you work in a chip factory. They're always there. Like, what do you do? But what was I saying? No, I'm down to probably maybe 5 drinks a week. I've fallen into that first checkbox on the doctor's questionnaire. They say, how much do you drink? 0 to 5, 5 to 10. I'm probably in that first checkbox, 0 to 5. And I count proper, drinks, not samples. So that the quarter of an ounce, half an ounce, whatever I just had, I didn't really count. Unless I have like 12 of them. Then we're talking a whole drink. I could get some water right now. I'm kind of thirsty. But today is a beautiful day here in Humble, Texas. It is 70-something degrees. I think you can see out there how gorgeous it looks. It's a little bit whitewashed, but it looks absolutely gorgeous out there. It's maybe 80 degrees. A red truck just drove by. I hate it when the neighbors drive by here and go all like slow and creepy. I may throw in an extra case to this batch just so I have product to take with me to the Thunderdome convention tomorrow. So I think I'll bring my straight whiskey and special reserve. The special reserve seems to be awfully popular. And the special reserve and the straight whiskey go together so well. and I'll be able to sell actual cocktails. So I think I'll bring my cocktail mixers. I'll bring a case of the rye and the cocktail mixers. Do a mixer in the rye. That'd be a $50 package. Knock it down to 45 plus tax, it'd be 50 cash. I think I could probably do that. Then they can sit there at their table and mix their own drinks. There's also going to be a brewery there selling beer, which would be pretty cool. Another local maker. Local brewery called Megaton Brewing. Yeah, I think I'll make one more case since I've got time. I've got time and I've got product. The next on the list is 12 cases of rye, and then 12 cases of bourbon. Actually, no, not 12 cases of rye, like 2 cases of rye. But that'll be last. The rye will be last. 2, 3, 4. 4, 8, 12. All right, so I'll have 7 cases filled. And I'll take 1 away. And whatever I don't sell at the event can stay in the tasting room. Yeah, that'll work. And we're good to go. So let me cover this back up. And this cover, basically, because we're kind of we're not in a fully open air facility here by any stretch of the imagination. But it gets dusty outside. And when it gets dusty, playing Motley Crue across the parking lot for their workout. Kickstart my heart. Got trouble in my eyes. And I'm just looking for another good time, my heart. My God, kickstart my heart. Memories. Such good music. All right, so what was I saying? I don't remember. I'm sure it was important. When I started this band, all we needed was a laugh. Years gone by, I said, we've kicked some ass. You know, speaking of which, prior to the pandemic, we did a lot of really cool events. We did Beards on the Bay. We did the River Revival before they went behind our back and got another sponsor and fucked us. We did rallies. We did a fashion show as a sponsor, not like we didn't host it. We did a bike rally. We sponsored a bicycle team for the MS 150. We did a lot of shit in the early days. None of it paid off. None of it got us any traction. Nobody ever heard of who we were. So, you know, it was a lesson learned about sponsorships, and some are more valuable than others. And, you know, just putting your name on an event doesn't really give you much traction to get much done and do anything. But it was fun. You know, we got to go do these events. But now, like, you know, sponsorship to me now means actually not just attending the event, but having our whiskey available at the event. Who this be? Cheers, Vanessa Kitty. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the show. And that is the last 4 that need to be filled. This is the next to last 4 that need to be corked. The next thing is the most tedious, least enjoyable part of this entire process. The thing I hate more than Brussels sprouts is running the seals on these dudes. Those 4 boxes are going onto a truck today. They have found their purpose. And I'm actually probably going to get a call next week for 4 more boxes if I know my market the way I think I know my market. Because I'm going to put out an announcement saying that they is ready. They is all ready, masses. Misses and missuses. They's ready to be bought. Come on, get up out of there. You little bastard, come on. It isn't Ask Me Anything, Dave, Vanessa. If you got questions that you want me to talk about, literally anything. Baseball season is upon us. Basketball playoffs are in full swing. I like the Rockets' chances, to be quite honest, but I'm not really deep into the basketballs as far as the fandom. I enjoy watching a good game. I like watching college basketball a little bit better because my University of Houston basketball Cougars are a fun team to watch. I've got to get some water. I am parched. I'm probably not going to eat lunch until about 3:30 or 4 o'clock. I've got to go by the store and pick up some martini glasses. Martini glasses. Because I'm going to introduce martinis to our lineup, which is nothing more than sweet vermouth with a double shot of whiskey. But I have never had sweet vermouth here in the shop. So I finally went and got some sweet vermouth. And I have a theory on sweet vermouth. Actually, I got dry vermouth, so we're going to be doing dry martinis. Ugh. There we go. Dry vermouth, dry martinis. So the Martini Manhattan. Oh, I just had a commercial. It's a Hims commercial for vitamins to help hair loss. How about that? Cheers to Top Shelf Dustin. Dustin, Vanessa, Dom, whole family's here. My hands are now wet from the water. It's good to have clean rags and towels laying around the shop. All right. So I was talking about basketball. What was the other thing I was talking about? I don't know. Shout out to Hims for the commercial advertising on my page. Speaking of which, y'all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Y'all may have seen my first experimental commercial that I've thrown out there. It is targeting whiskey tube channels. I don't know how often y'all browse other whiskey tubers. But if you have a whiskey tube channel and you are a monetized channel, there's a chance one of my ads will start showing up. Just don't be pissed. I get a little trolly, but not much. I love you guys. That's kind of my super secret experiment that I've been running lately. I wanted to see if I could do it like that, just taking. It was born of a trolley joke that I had thought up during the pandemic. There was a local comedian who worked sports radio talk show, and he had a 3-hour daytime show. And when the pandemic struck, he got fired because they were cutting everything back because of the pandemic and blah blah blah. So he took his show home. I don't know if y'all can see. Yeah, y'all should be able to see me back here. So he took his show home and started streaming on Twitch and YouTube live. The same time every day, 3 hours. So he basically took his show off the radio and put it on to the YouTubes, and he was doing his show on the YouTubes. And he had a thing where he would, like one of his shticks was that he would drink Crown Royal during his show. But not Crown Royal by itself, Crown and Coke. He drank Crown and Coke. That was his drink of choice, was Crown and Coke. Which, if anybody knows anything about people who drink Crown and Coke, you know 100% they don't like Crown because they pour it into Coke. And most of the people who say they like Crown don't like Crown. They drink Crown and something. Crown and Coke, Crown and water, Crown and 7-Up, Crown and Mountain Dew, Crown and Sprite, Crown and Coke, Crown and Diet Coke, some kind of Crown and something else concoction so they don't have to drink Crown because Crown tastes like ass. I said it. I don't mind saying it. I'll say it again if you need to hear it. Not that Crown Royal people are going to come after me because, hey, they know they don't like Crown Royal either. So find the slander, bitches. Anyway, my thought, I reached out to him and said, hey, I see you drink Crown and Coke. Would you be willing to swap out Crown and Coke for Old Humble and Coke? Or Old Humble and Ginger Ale? I'll provide you with the whiskey and your first case of the ginger ale. What do you say? You probably spend about $200 on Crown, right? So I can replace that for you. At least $200 on Crown. You probably spend, if you're drinking a cocktail a day every day, it's at least a bottle a month, probably 2 bottles a month, and 2 bottles of Crown is $50. So you're probably spending $600 on whiskey. I can replace that cost for you in its entirety and just provide you for the whiskey all year long. So when you run out, I'll give you a fresh case. What do you say? His response was something to the effect of, whiskey doesn't pay the bills. I really need sponsorships for cash money. Which, hey, I can respect that. I understand it. But I'm also offering, to which I responded, I said, I can respect that. I get it. What I'm trying to do is replace an expense for you. So it'll be like cash money. Would you like me to give you the money and then you can just buy the whiskey? Because I'm not going to advertise on your show and have you say, hey, this is a great whiskey, blah, 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 blah. Then you just pour yourself a Crown of Coke. He said, no, I really need the money, not the product. I'm like, all right, that's cool. No sweat. how much does Crown give you to drink their whiskey on your show? And he said, well, if we're going to go that route, then you need to also ask about Adidas and Reebok and Nike and some other clothes brand that he wore all the time. Because he said, because I wear those, and they're not sponsoring either. I'm like, okay, cool, whatevs. So door was closed on him and his sponsorships because he, was all about authenticity, he said. So I didn't want to pay him to act like he liked the brand. And I certainly wasn't going to pay him to drink Crown Royal when I was giving him money. So then I was thinking, hey, wouldn't it be funny if I just advertised directly in front of his show? Like I could target the ad specifically to his channel so that when he went live 5 days a week, one of the 2 or 3 ads that people saw, if they stuck with him for the full 3 hours, would be one of my ads saying something along the lines of, I tried to let this guy drink my whiskey on his show for free, but he said no. But hey, his loss is your gain. That means I have more to go around in the market. Stop by Specs and pick up a bottle, blah, 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 blah. Because I thought that would be absolutely prolifically hilarious. But then I looked at his viewership numbers, and he didn't really have enough viewers to warrant that. He'd get like 30 viewers to a show. Kind of like my lives. I'd pop onto his live streams and he'd have like 10 or 15 viewers. He's now back on the radio. Some channel, I'm not sure which channel he's on now, but he's back on the radio. Presumably doing radio spots for money. Because, it's all about authenticity. For that guy. Any hoodles, that's where I got the idea that you could just find a channel, set up an ad, and say, only run this ad on this channel. And if they don't have any slots available, if there's no inventory available to take up, then don't run the ad. So, set a budget for whatever, $15 a day, $5 a day. And if it doesn't run, if there's no inventory slots to run the ad, I spend $0. If there is inventory slots, I spend up to $15 a day. So, and it turns out you can do it in a highly targeted manner. You can select 15 or 20 channels. Hell, you could select one channel for it to run on. And if it doesn't run, if there's no inventory, if they haven't done a video in a month and nobody's watching their videos, then if they don't have any views, then you don't run the ad. But if they do have the views, then you run the ad. You only spend it, you only spend it if they have the inventory. And it works out good. So I'm crafting new ads to run to promote our website, build that trust. Because with the YouTube influencers, very large air quotes on the influencers, some of whom are watching now, and I understand that. They go after popular brands that are widely available, stuff they can find in stores around their house. And I get that. I understand it. I have no problem with that. And they want free shit from small producers. They don't mind paying hundreds of dollars to go to liquor stores and buy factory whiskey and give free advertising to factory whiskey guys. But for brands that can't afford it, Well, they still want free shit. So they'll pay money to give free advertising to Willet and Buffalo Trace and Jack Daniels and Maker's Mark, and a lot of those guys are owned all by the same company, like Maker's Mark and Jack Daniels, both Brown-Forman, if I'm not mistaken. They'll give free advertising to Jim Beam. But when a small manufacturer says, hey, I see you're doing reviews, you want to do a review, let me recommend this one. They go, yeah, send me a free bottle. So then you're compelled to say, you know what, fuck off. Because I just saw in your last ad, or your last video, you went to Oregon and spent $300 goddamn dollars on factory fucking whiskey. So if you've got the means to travel from Tennessee or Kentucky, wherever that douche nozzle's from, to Oregon to spend $300 on shitty whiskey, might I add. Not even like rare allocated stuff. Just normal stuff that you can get everywhere. Maybe not in his backwater yokel farmhouse community. But you know, where the rest of America lives. Then you can take your fat ass online and order a bottle of whiskey. Anyway. Bruzel's a piece of shit. Who said that? Anyway. I mean, there's some legitimately nice people out there that I don't mind working with, but god damn, it's just so frustrating. Hi, we just started a brand new podcast, and we're looking to try out some brands. Can you send us some free shit? Because you're obviously over here rolling in money when you're behind on your mortgage by 3 payments. Suck my dick. Hi, we're trying to start our show. Can you give us free stuff? I had a lady ask me for a sponsorship for their like their fireman's ball or something like that. And they said, hey, can we get 20 free cases of whiskey for our event? 20 free cases of whiskey? Are you insane? No. Can't get 20 cases of whiskey for free. But I can give you a half-price deal on them. They said, well, we can't spend any more money on whiskey because we just spent our budget on Jack Daniels. You spent your budget on Jack Daniels. What was your budget for Jack Daniels? So we just spent $1,000 to buy a bunch of Jack Daniels so that every table could have a bottle. So we were wondering, like, there's not a chance in hell that I'm going to give you free whiskey to put next to the whiskey that you paid for when you paid for Jack Daniels. It may not have been 20. I think it was 10 cases. Like that's the craziest thing. And another local, wow, I'm spilling all the tea. A local haircut place, basically a men's barber salon. You know, the kind of place where you go in and they have a bar, you can have a cocktail and a haircut, that type of thing, like a men's lounge. Not one of those topless lingerie haircut places, which was a thing before the pandemic. But this was like in 2021, while all the pandemic shit was still going on and businesses were desperately trying to recover, the marketing officer for this local men's cut place calls me up and says, hey, we're looking to put some more whiskey in our places. Would you be willing to donate some whiskey to our locations. We've got 10 stores, so 5 cases should do the trick. 5 cases during a pandemic? Are you kidding me? Anyway, I mean, I don't mind giving away stuff. I like giving away bottles and giving away merch, giving away bottles, supporting channels, supporting makers. In fact, Dustin, I've got your discount code set up. I think it did. I can't remember if I emailed it to you for your bottle because I lost that bet. I did not think Trump would be on the ballot in November, but that son of a bitch slipped through and got his ass on the ballot. And then he won the fucking election. And now he's wrecking everything like a goddamn toddler. Ugh. Someone on one of these channels asked me if there was any policies of his that I liked. And I said, it's not the policy that I like, it's the motive behind the policy. I don't have any problem with enforcing immigration law, but they're not about enforcing immigration law. They're about getting rid of minorities, especially Hispanic ones, Latino folks. They're not out here deporting Swedes who overstayed their visa. They're deporting Venezuelans who overstayed their visa and revoking protected status to Haitians and people like that. There's like specific classes of minorities of immigrants that they're going after. It's not about the policy. I have absolutely no problem with enforcing the law and doing it the right way. I have a problem with racist policy that leads to enforcing the law in a particular way. Anyway, that's a topic for another day, probably. Almost down. This is number 7, case number 7 that we're starting right here. I see a whole like page of chat over there, but I'm like in a mode right now. I've got a groove going with the heat gun. So after this, I go to the labeler. So let me get this done, and then I'll come over to chat. I might just get all of these done before I have to go pick up those charcuterie boards. That's a very possible condition. I just might have all this finished. Anyway, now he's talking about giving a $5,000 bonus to people who have babies because there's apparently a baby crisis, a baby-making crisis in the United States, which is only true if you're a white supremacist, because that has been the line of an ongoing through line in the anti-abortion debate for the last probably 15 years. It has very little to do with women's health and babies' health. It has everything to do with the crashing birth rates among the white population in the United States. But you know where there isn't a population crisis? Among immigrants. In the United States, there's not a population growth crisis at all. The population is growing at a very healthy rate, but it doesn't do that when you don't allow immigration. And when you deport people, you end up running out of workers. But what do I know? It's just math and reality. There we go. 12 cases. Done. My hand's numb from the vibration of that machine. Okay, so now it's a series of labels. What time is it? Let's catch up on chat. Dustin, be better to see my ads than most of the other trash. I don't think I'm going to do an Ad Twins ad. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to replicate the Ad Twins ad with one of my own people. So instead of send it off to a couple of cute twins, I'm just going to bring in a couple of cute twins here. You mostly run ad block. Yeah, you can run ad block. That's fine. You don't have to see my ads. You don't need to see them. Crown doesn't have enough taste to be called ass. What channels do you set to run on if you remember? I don't remember all of the channels, but I do remember the biggest one is probably Bruzel. But, you know, if you go down the list of channels that you can think of that are the big ones, mostly ones that are 100,000 subscribers and more, or close to 100,000 subscribers. My son is officially registered to go to Japan in January. Whew. Well, that's going to be expensive. I wonder who he could be talking about. There were several channels, by the way, but there's one very specific one that I could be talking about. But my cases are 12, and yeah, it was like 20 cases that they wanted. It might have been 10, but still, 120 bottles. These people are insane. 0.2% 2021. That's possible. Well, when you talk about growth rate in 2021, that's in the midst of the pandemic. That's in the midst of a recession. Population growth rate is going to be low during a recession. But overall, our population growth rate, individual years may suck, but overall it's not bad. Unless you look at specific demographics, and in specific demographics, it can be really bad. Okay, this needs to move over just a hair. That should do it. Now it's time for the labels. Set? Yeah, that's good stuff right there. I mean, one thing I do know for sure is that in New York, London, Paris, Munich, everybody's talking about pop music. Ha 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 ha. What time is it? 1:33. Okay, I've still got I got plenty of time to get the labels done. I'm not going to get it into the boxes, but that's okay. I don't need to get it into the boxes just yet. I've had that song so stuck in my head. The U.S. has been behind Canada. Okay, I think I need to send you that email again. If I may have forgotten to send it. I'm 99% certain I've set up the discount code, but that might explain why I haven't seen it actually get used. Oh, it's so good to be doing our special reserve again. Oh, goodness, it's been a long time since I've had this. This batch was supposed to have gone out in October. And I've been doing the unthinkable thing of actually going to the store and buying my whiskey so that I can sell my whiskey in my own distillery. I mean, can you believe that shit? But sometimes that's what you got to do. They bought all my product. It was sitting in stores. I needed some of it on my shelf, so I'd go and grab 2 bottles, bring it back to the mothership, and do what I had to do. But no, I mean, birth rates are going to be low during a recession. They're going to be low during a pandemic. They're going to be low during times of uncertainty. But the way to solve low birth rates is not bribing people $5,000 to have a baby, because people have babies still have to pay for health care, still have to pay for education, still have to pay for clothes for the goddamn kid, dental, eye care, neonatal care, maternal health. I mean, babies aren't cheap, and they cost more than $5,000. You got to pay for that damn kid all the way through he's 18, and sometimes a little bit longer than that. Like my son's going to Japan for school, not just for fun. So that's part of his education. We're going to cover part of that cost. He's going to cover most of it, but we're going to cover part of it. This is some good video right here. I mean, look at this. You've basically got an over the shoulder. You're like, you don't even see my face. You're just over the shoulder looking at the work that I'm doing. And not even at the work that I'm doing. I guess I could bring it a little bit closer and aim it down so you can kind of actually see what it is that I'm doing. And being under 1% in the birth rate is not necessarily a problem. Our population has been growing because of immigration. And it's only 1% overall, or under 1% overall. Our population is growing because we're a place where people want to come, or had been a place where people want to come. If you decide to go on a crusade against immigrants, then all of a sudden birth rate can become a problem. But 1% growth is still 1% growth, and we are covering the replacement rate. We are covering the replacement rate of boomers dying off. But there is a risk because people are waiting longer to have children, but there's a reason people are waiting longer to have children. And there's a way to fix that as well. You know, when you're buried in student loans, when you're buried in debt, when you can't afford to live as a couple, it makes it really hard to make a decision to have a baby. And the next thing you know, you're 35 years old and you don't want to have a baby. And when you're in a low inflationary environment, you kind of do want a low population growth. I mean, everybody wants a high population growth rate. I mean, I understand why that's an important policy thing, but industrial societies have low birth rates, low growth rates. Oh, population growth rate. Good. Well, yeah, and our population growth rate is, I mean, part of that population growth rate is immigration. And if you go on a crusade against immigration, you got a problem. You will have a problem. And there are ways to fix low birth rates or low population growth rates. Easy ways to fix it. But having a 5% growth in the population is not necessarily anomalous. Growth rates are bad. You want steady everything. You want steady economic growth rates. You want steady, you don't want volatility in the markets. You don't want volatility in the population change. You don't want volatility in policy. You don't want volatility. You kind of want I mean, fine, 1.5% growth rate, whatever. A good chunk of our economic policy is tied to, oh, that's too low. Is tied to the population growth rate. Is the where's my knife? There it is. And you can't just wave a wand and make all the things that prevent people from having babies go away with $5,000. At some point, you got to look around and say, maybe this isn't a place where people want to go to anymore, and maybe we should change that. I mean, I think when you start talking about annexing countries and those countries say, hell fucking no, we don't want to be a part of your country, that should at least be the first indication that maybe we're not as exceptional as we think we are. Although it would be kind of cool if we annexed Canada and then everybody got health care. That would be the unintended consequence, I think. Of a hey, speaking of unintended consequences, Jody Summers just walked through the damn door. What's up, my man? I'm doing a live feed right now. Jody Summers is our newest brand ambassador. He calls himself a comedian, and I'm pretty sure the waitresses laugh when he makes jokes in his at the bars where he goes to. And maybe the patron does too. The person. Because it's a paid show, but you know, friends and family get comped, so there's at least one person there. I'm going to be doing this for about 30 more minutes. When I finish these 2 rows, then I'll be done. You want to, what you got? I bet we're going to be talking business. Awesome. Part of it, but also part of, actually, it may be about 15 more minutes because my distributor may be showing up at 1:45. So I may just wrap up when he gets here. But I may, well, I've only got the back labels on these done right now. They're all on YouTube, like hearing me have half of a conversation as I talk to myself, as I walk myself through this process. These are all my back labels. I'll have the front labels done. I could probably do them in about 30, I don't know, we'll see. What are we doing? If Canada was added as a blue state, I mean, I don't think Trump has thought that. If Canada, well, Trump's not going to be reelected, for one, because he can't run for a 3rd time. But Canada being added, as all, I think Canada, what is Canada, 150 million people? That'd be a big blue state. It would definitely tip the House of Representatives, because then Canada would have probably, let's see, how would the apportionment for the House of Representatives work? If you have one state that's 1/3 of your population, because we have about 320 million people. So add Canada, and now your population is suddenly 470 million people. 1/3 of them is one state. Right? So all of your states have one representative. So that's 51 representatives out of 427. Wait, 435. 435 representatives. So now you have 360 75 representatives remaining. So a third of them would go to Canada. So 125 representatives in one state. That's easily plus 25 states. So 135 plus 25, 150. That's not easily a majority for one state, but that is easily enough in one state to tip the balance of pretty much anything. And then Texas would lose. Texas would lose at least 10 representatives. California would lose 10 representatives. So there's a whole bunch of states that would go from 2 reps down to 1. Whole bunch of states that would go from 5 representatives down to like 2 or so. I haven't done the spreadsheet. I haven't pulled it, but it would, I mean, almost certainly require expanding the House of Representatives, right? 1% growth rate does mean we're replacing our population. But we are also, I don't know if we're relying on immigration, but we are absolutely, that is an important part of our population growth rate. I'm having like 3 conversations. I go all over the board when I do my lives. All right, that is the end of the back labels. Now it's time to flip over to the front labels. Boom. All right. Fucking awesome. All right, now this can go over here. Whew. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One of these cases is going with me tomorrow. That's cool. Cannon was added. Okay. You know what? What has it been? About an hour? You talk with my hands. It's been about an hour. I mean, fuck it. I'm going to keep going. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Special reserve right there, baby. Boom. Nice caramel brown. Not too dark, not too light. Just the right amount of oak for your tasting pleasure. Centered, sealed, and ready to deliver. I had some volunteers in here once, and there was more than one occasion where they put 2 labels on the same side of the bottle. And I was just like, guys, y'all can't. Y'all got to pay a little bit more attention. Just a little bit more attention. I would not. I remember when you had those like logic problems, and it would say you have 5 minutes to finish this assignment, and you get the page and it was like 200 questions, and the instructions were read all of the instructions before begin. Only answer questions number 1, 7, and 93, and then you start answering the problems. And 3 or 4 people get up right away and hand them in. They're like, what the hell? As I get to question number 6. Because, of course, I didn't read the instructions because it was math. What the hell? It's just math. Meanwhile, the teachers are back there snickering. These people are fucking morons. Bitch. I don't normally have an audience. This is cool. Right. So you had shamrocks today, right? Or was that yesterday? Awesome. Shamrocks? Oh, oh shit. So they're going to be getting it from pulled it through. Nice. Okay, so we got to figure out. So here's for those of you, both of you watching still. I'm literally building out the sales program from scratch. I don't know how to do it. I'm faking it all the way through. So now we've got a local bar that has decided they're going to buy a case and a half of our whiskey. What was it? A case of the rye and a case the bourbon? Okay, so we got a case of whiskey being basically sold to a bar. They're going to stock it at their bar as what I hope will be their primary bourbon and primary rye. Fuck yeah, that's what I've been saying. It's perfect for old fashions. But you know, you don't have to take my word for it. I mean, you kind of have to until y'all buy a bottle for yourselves. But okay, so like when I was talking about keeping things orderly, see, this is a row of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. These are rows of 6. I keep it orderly, but I'm paying attention to this way I don't have to actually count what I'm doing, but it also helps me entertain myself. When I'm doing my labels, I can make little designs, and I'll start doing a slant all the way up. See how I'm such a dork. But this fills in the gap. So my goal is to get 7 across and fill in that gap. And then I put this label on too high. And then that way I know, I don't necessarily know how much I've done, but I know how many I'm doing, which is also important. I mean, I'm doing 7 cases. So this is how I stay organized. That way I don't have to think about it. I can just kind of look and see about where we're at in the process. I'm looking over there. I know I've got 4 cases and a half left. And it doesn't really matter where I pull from. Actually, it does matter where I'm pulling from. That bothers me. Because I can easily see 4 cases plus a few more bottles. If I start pulling from these before I'm done, I can't easily look over there and go, oh, I've got 4 cases left. So that's some more inside baseball for you folks watching me work. That's how I do this stuff. My brain doesn't work good all the time. But sometimes it does. And make that extra row there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 1 more row to put in. And I will be able to fill that in. This is actually going quite quickly. It's 1:44. I will be done by 2 o'clock. Well, done with this phase of it by 2 o'clock. All I got to do is build the boxes and fill the boxes with the bottles. An expert at his craft, moving quickly. It's going to be cool when we get the when I can actually live stream a full distillation day, because then they can watch me sleep. Because I will absolutely take a nap while we're distilling whiskey. And taking a nap is something that I could never do when I worked at a bank. Not during the day, not unless I work from home. which was a thing that Boss Man did not like because he really liked to be able to watch us work as he looked over his little kingdom and make himself feel important while he rubbed his tiny little dick. Because David Falconer was a piece of human trash. I don't mind saying that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because that is a sad little man who failed his way upward in the world. But good for him. If you can get promotions by playing golf and kissing ass, then you should absolutely get promotions by playing golf and kissing ass. Dude fucked up a mortgage office in Florida. How do you fuck up a mortgage office in Florida, of all places? Florida! Anacondas can get a goddamn mortgage in Florida, and he fucked up a Florida mortgage office. How do you do that? Jesus Christ. I mean, goddamn. That's like fucking up frozen food in the Arctic. How do you do that? You can just literally stand there and sell mortgages. It's Florida, for crying out loud. They build condos on sand and get mortgages for them. Out-of-towners come and get mortgages on timeshares. And you fucked up a mortgage office? Jesus Christ. And that stupid little prick got a promotion out of it. Oh. And that is the power of playing golf and kissing ass, kids. If you ever wondered why you play golf and kiss ass, just ask David Falconer, who fucked up a mortgage office and then got promoted to death care manager of death care trusts. I mean, Jesus Christ. Of all the stupid fucking things to do. Yes, I manage sand in Saudi Arabia, and my office is failing. How do you... Anyway. I work in Guam, and I run the Office of Saltwater. Nah, business is tough. Nobody wants to have any salt water. Ugh, Jesus. Anyway, I hate that guy. And the funny thing is, everybody else in the office hates him too. They're just willing to put up with this shit. I don't understand it. I don't know why. I wasn't. I don't have that gene in my body to put up with fucking idiots. So, my new boss is a dumbass, doesn't know how to run a distillery. How do you fuck up a mortgage office in Florida? I mean, and it wasn't even like residential mortgages. This was like builder mortgages. 27-story condominium complex mortgage office. Mind-numbing. Shocking. All right, kids. Taking a nap at lunch is a luxury everyone should someday enjoy. No shit. I've regularly believed that taking a nap at lunch is one of the keys to heightened productivity. And if not at lunch, at least sometime in the early afternoon. Frequently, I would take a nap when I worked in the office. I would take a nap before I came home from work. I'd just sit in the parking garage, set my alarm for 30 minutes, take a quick 30-minute nap, and get fired up and go home. Yeah. Scientifically proven that it resets the body. I get that. I believe it. I will allow it. No citation needed. I mean, it was either that or take a nap when I got home. There have been more than one occasion when I've driven home from a tasting in Dallas and I stop off in Huntsville, or just before Huntsville, like the last stop before you get to Huntsville, and then just pulled off onto a dirt road and taken a nap. All right, that's 7 cases. One of these cases goes with me tomorrow to the event. The other 6 stay here. Go over there to that pallet, which you probably can't see. Yeah, you can see it goes over there to that pallet. And then maybe later tonight I'll do the other 6 for the rest of the order. My distributor's late. But he's coming back from Galveston, so I'm not really worried about that. All right, where are we? Switch cameras now. Put it in picture-in-picture. Did that work? No. How about that one? Nope. That one. Nope. Why isn't the picture-in-picture working? Let's see here. Camera 2. Oh, I see, because camera 2 got switched. Boop. There we go. That's me. That's camera, well, nope. Still camera 2's fucked up. Built-in cam is, that's the right one. Camera 2 is that one. Huh. So camera 2 and built-in cam think they're the same camera. That's crazy. All right, so that's the picture-in-picture. It's not working right. Let's get rid of this one. Actually, I'm sweating too much because I'm fat. And I'm working on that, actually. But I've gotten better. I'm not as bad as it was before. Let's see here. Add existing camera number 2. Where's camera 2? Okay, camera 2 froze. There it is. All right. Okay, so camera 2. Okay, camera 2 is this camera. I think I got that fixed up. Now the integrated webcam is this one. And I need to fix that up. Now that's fixed. Okay. Boom. All right, so that's the work we just did. That's my face. All right, we got the picture-in-picture fixed. And I actually have a big shop fan over there and a small shop fan over there. And right now it's fine. Okay, my food truck is canceling on me now. But they're not actually being honest. They're like, we're booked. Like, you're not booked. But that's cool. That's no problem. So now I need to find a new food truck for our Friday nights. That's cool. We can do that. We can do that for our Friday night date nights. And our distributor just showed up. And he's going to be like that. All right, so we're going to call it an afternoon. My distributor's here. Time to send some whiskey away. We'll be back. We'll be live soon doing stuff. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for stopping in. Blah, 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 blah. Where's our closing scene?